Hi, Bianca.
Hi, Sabrina.
How are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm great. Really excited to be recording with you today.
Yeah, really excited to be recording.
So, Bianca, since you're a new voice on this podcast, could you go ahead and introduce yourself for the listeners?
Hi, everyone. My name is Bianca Martinez, and I'm the Bell's program assistant. I'm also a high school senior at the Institute for Collaborative Education.
And we're so happy to have you here.
Thanks. I'm happy to be here.
So, every year, the Bell trains a group of high school students from across New York City in audio journalism. These student interns report and produce original stories for the Miseducation podcast. Over the past 5 months, this year's reporters have been hard at work on their episodes. The theme of this upcoming season is Questioning the Status Quo.
Each student picked an aspect of the New York City education system that we've all gotten really used to, things that students have just come to accept as normal.
What's an example?
Graduation requirements. New York is one of a small number of states that requires students to pass exit exams, called regents, in order to graduate.
Regents, man, that was a stressful time.
Yeah, that was the worst. And so with all these issues, our reporters are like, wait a second, maybe there's a better way to do this. Through in-depth research and reporting, they are making a case for what needs to change.
I'm so excited for you guys to hear these stories. So excited, in fact, that on today's episode, we're going to share a preview of what they've been working on. Bianca, you actually had the chance to sit down and chat with some of this year's Miseducation reporters.
Yeah, it was so interesting to get to know each one of them. Each of them are so passionate about their stories. It was a great reminder of why I came to the Bell in the first place.
Can you expand on that?
Well, throughout my interviews, we talked about the benefits of using audio to tell a story. The reason I'm drawn to audio journalism is because of how it humanizes different perspectives. It's fascinating how giving students a mic changes the way we think about the world around us. At the same time, listeners can definitely benefit from hearing the experiences of current public school students. And all of this makes me super excited to introduce 4 of the voices you'll hear in a few months when we release our next season: Bernie, Nusrath, Shoa, and Jose.
From the Miseducation podcast, this is PS16, Questioning the Status Quo, Sneak Peek. I'm your host, Sabrina Duquesne, passing it to Bianca.
Can you introduce yourself? Just say your name, your grade, and the school you go to.
Okay, hi, my name is Nusrat. I'm in the 11th grade at Manhattan Center for Science and Mathematics.
Now, what's your story about?
So my story is mainly focusing on the FAFSA application and how there's many difficulties and complexities within the questions and how students have very little information about it, so it's more harder for them to fill it out.
FAFSA stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. It's a form that college applicants must fill out in order to apply for financial aid. Why'd you choose this issue?
I think because for everyone, and mostly seniors and low income and immigrant families, college is the next step. And when you think of college, your mind kind of goes to the amount of money you're going to need. And one of the things that are supposed to help you, which is the application, is actually more of a burden than it is a relief. And so talking about the FAFSA application could also help me understand, as well my students and my peers.
Okay, awesome. I definitely feel it. As a senior, I definitely feel that 100%. So in that case, what was your favorite part of the reporting process?
My favorite part was probably actually interviewing and talking to different people and students about it. The financial advisor I was able to speak to gave me a lot of information that I didn't know offhand.
How has your perspective on the FAFSA and specifically paying for college change over the course of researching and reporting on your issue?
Initially, I kind of thought the FAFSA was the issue, but it's more on the lack of information provided to students. Because from a lot of the interviews I've heard, it was more about if I had everything with me and if I had all the papers and understood what they meant, I'd probably be able to fill it all out faster. Rather than they came in not knowing much about it, thinking it'd be a fast process when it took days and weeks to fill it out. And so I think my shift is more off of like the FAFSA application itself and like what they can do to help understand the application.
All right, awesome. Thanks for talking to me. I look forward to hearing your episode.
My name is Shoa Khan. I am a junior at Landmark High School.
What is your story about?
My story is about the lack of sexual education in New York City public schools.
All right, and why are you personally involved in that issue?
So as I've grown up, I've noticed a lot of stigma, like in my house and in schools and in society in general, around like sexual relationships, like I guess as teenagers. And that's kind of made me realize that I haven't gotten the sexual education that I need, even though I know it's very important. And the way that I usually get my information from is like from friends or from media, and I can acknowledge that that's very dangerous and not really helpful if I'm not getting it from like a trusted source.
You were talking a lot about going through this issue and thinking about the lack of sexual education as a young girl living in the 21st century. But now that you're approaching this issue as a reporter, how has that been different?
As a student, like as someone that didn't do, the reporting, I've had so many questions in my head that, I've tried to understand around sexual education and like, where can I get it? Who can I get it from? Why am I not getting it? But as a reporter, it allows me to get the answers to those questions. So I get much more confidence as a reporter, and I can be like, I need to answer some questions around sexual education, why I'm not getting it. And those are like, from the reporter view, I get my answers to the questions that I've had as a student.
Can you tell us one of your favorite interviews you've conducted for your episode? Something we can look forward to?
My friend, basically like an overview is that she went through a pretty rough experience in middle school, high school. And at that time, we were kind of getting the sexual education in like 8th grade, but clearly it wasn't enough. And so she gets really vulnerable in that. And I think that that's such a strong part of my podcast, because she will bring emotion to this. And she talks about how she really does wish that she had the sexual education because she wasn't able to like say no, and how that has affected her to this day. That was one of my favorite ones because it was very raw, and I've known her for a really long time. So getting this side of her was, I guess, like I felt very connected to her.
How has your perspective on sexual education expanded or changed throughout your reporting?
My perspective on sexual education has definitely expanded. Like with my research and with my interviews, I've realized that not only is it something that can help people understand, pregnancy cases, STI cases, but it also would cover topics on like consent and like how to say no. It's only supported my idea of like why we need sexual education and why there shouldn't be so much stigma around it, because it is normal, but it's just kind of, I guess people look at it as embarrassing, and I hope to change that perspective.
You heard it here first. Having the opportunity to report a story and make a podcast is a powerful experience for us students. If you're feeling inspired and excited by what you're hearing, please consider making a donation today. Just go to give.bellvoices.org and choose a one-time or monthly contribution. You can even donate in honor or in memory of someone. Once again, that's give.bellvoices.org. Thank you for supporting Student Voices.
Hi, my name is Bernie Carmona. I am a 10th grader at Beacon High School. My story basically revolves around the inequities in arts funding in New York City high schools. Something that I've noticed in the education system and the DOE is that schools in the Bronx and Central Brooklyn and Queens don't really get as much extracurriculars as those in Lower Manhattan. Those inequities affect how students view themselves and how students are motivated to pursue their passions.
So why are you personally invested in this issue?
I'm personally invested because I know a lot of people that have gone through an experience where they go to a school that's really high income with a lot of kids that have had all these experiences that they never got to have. And being in that situation kind of makes you question, like, oh, am I different from these people?
How has the perspective of your problem changed, expanded over the course of your reporting?
It's mostly just helped me know that other students go through these types of crises when they're in elementary school, when they're trying to find their passion. And when I'm talking to other teachers, I get to know a little bit more about them. I get to be closer with them.
My name is Jose Santana. I'm in 11th grade, and my school is Dr. Richard Izquierdo Health and Science Charter School. My story is about how school start times affect students and their sleep.
Why this issue?
I am being affected negatively by like the school start time. So I am going through this issue, and I always see every single day at school, I see the same issue affecting all the students around me. So it's like just being able to like realize that and see that, it's just like there's no way I could stay silent about this problem, you know?
What's your favorite part of the reporting process?
I think my favorite part would be when I interviewed a bunch of sleep scientists, the people that are like the real nerds about all this stuff, the science and all that. I think that was really fun because I think I've already had all the experience. I just needed the science, which they very much gave to me on a personal level, I guess. Like I was actually talking to these guys rather than like reading a Google article. So I think that was very definitely my favorite part.
So what was the difference approaching this issue as a student, as someone who lives in it, versus approaching it as a journalist?
I think there's a very big difference. I think being a student journalist gives me the tools and information necessary, you know, just education, things that I've learned to really be able to bring my story to audio, you know, to bring it to life, to be able to tell it so that others could hear it, being able to learn about audio journalism, just really how to use my voice, how to express myself, and overall, like how to pick a topic as well, and how to just bring this story to life. I think that's very, very valuable, and I'm very grateful.
Yeah. Has your perspective on this problem evolved or changed during the course of your reporting?
Yeah, my perspective has definitely, I don't know if I would say change in terms of like I switched sides, definitely not. But it definitely has expanded a lot. And I will say most of it is because of the research side that I've been able to learn about it. Before I did like research, I could have kind of already said that bad sleep is bad for me, you know? But like now with like this science, now like I know, okay, yeah, like this is happening because of me getting bad sleep, and just get the specifics. You know, it has allowed me to see the problem in the bigger picture. Now that I know this, it's like I can't go a day without like thinking and knowing that this is a live problem. So I'm very excited for you guys to listen to my episode. I think it's going to be great.
Miseducation is a production of The Bell. You can learn more about us at bellvoices.org. And if you're not already doing so, follow at Miseducation Pod on social media.
If you're listening to these topics and you have an important story or perspective to share, please reach out. Our students are close to wrapping up their reporting, but we're always in search of promising leads.
Our work is made possible by the Summerfield Foundation, the Pinkerton Foundation, and FJC. A special thank you to Hindenburg Systems.
Today's episode was created by Bianca Martinez, Nira Gordon, and me, Sabrina Duquesne, with help from Taylor McGraw. Music from Blue Dot Sessions and Lens Lewis. Catch you later.